Okay, yeah, sorry. I thought I already started recording. Okay, now the session is being recorded. Now we'll go through it. First, let's create a hello.rb. Okay, I'm going to create vi hello.rb. So hello.rb, and then I'm going to paste the content. Just so I'm going to paste it here. Content also. Just do the indentation because it's a flat. It comes like in one line. So just change the. You can do it later. I'll give you time to perform this, but just be with me. I'll give you the details later. So this is a okay. First, let's see what I have done. I have created .rb file. As I told, Chef is based on the Ruby. You may not need to know the Ruby syntax, but internally Chef uses the Ruby. That's why all its Chef files are extension are having extension .rb. So Ruby extensions are there, but it's not necessary that it has to be all the Ruby syntax, because Chef internally uses its own DSL, which will be converted eventually to Ruby, which we may not need to understand. We only need to understand is the Chef DSL, but the extension for all the recipes, cookbooks, and everything will be .ruby. Okay, so .rb is our section. That is why we have added .rb. Now if I go to hello.txt, right? Now hello.rb is our recipe, right? What I told yesterday, recipe is the file, and inside that we have collection of resources, right? So here I am adding file resource. Remember yesterday I talked about there could be a lot of resources. There could be file resource, there could be directory resource, service resource, package resource. It could be anything, right? So first let's have a file resource. Okay, so I'm telling the first. This is a syntax. This is a syntax how you have to write the recipe. First you have to specify what is the resource. I said file resource. If it's directory, I would say dir resource, right? So right now it's a file resource. Fine. Now what is the file name? File name is hello.txt. In single quotes I have to specify the file name. I can give full path also, or if I don't give full path, it will take the current working directory as a path, right? So hello.txt is my file. Now here start a block. Do and and states that what I have to do with the file resource, right? File is a resource. Hello.txt is the resource name. That's fine, but what do I have to do with that? So in that do and it's a kind of block. In between that block, I will have to specify what I need to do. I need to remove it, delete it, create it, change the content, or whatever I need to do. I need to specify, right? So in second line, I am specifying, hey, I want the content of the file is welcome to Chef. This is what my goal is, right? So my goal is to have a file hello.txt on my system, and content of that hello.txt should be welcome to Chef. So I can specify content space single quote welcome to Chef, and a, single quote close. So this is a proper syntax to define any resource. So this, and at the last I can and the do. It's not a loop, but it's a kind of section. It's not just like do this and all those things loop, but it's a do and end section defines what you need to do with the resource, and you have to specify that particular things, those particular things under between do and loop and thing, this block. So I'm ending the block with the word and. Okay. So I will again go back and reiterate what I said. I want a file hello.txt whose content should be welcome to chef. That is why I have so written recipe hello.rb. So hello.rb is my recipe name, and as I said, recipe is the basic building block of any configuration, right? And the sorry base and in that I can specify multiple resources because recipe is a collection of resources. So I am specifying going to specify only one resource. What is and resource what is a resource? It's a basic kind of basic entity to do anything on your server. So my resource, there could be many types of resource: file resource, directory resource, package resource, anything it could be. So first I need to specify file resource. File resource name is hello.txt. That means my file name is hello.txt in single quotes. And I can between do and block, I need to specify what I need to do with the hello.txt. In that I want content to be hello.chef. Sorry, welcome to chef. I saved it and quit. Right now I want to run the recipe. Right now I need to run the recipe. Okay, I will run chef apply hello.rb. Remember, right now I have just I don't have other structure, right? I don't have cookbooks. I don't have any other environment or nothing. I'm just here. The exercise is just to understand what is recipe and how we define resources inside that. We'll go to cookbook and much in depth later point of time. But first, we need to understand what is recipe and how it works. Okay, so our chef apply has been executed, right? So what exactly chef apply does? Chef applies nothing but it just runs the recipe on locally, right? It will just run the recipe locally, and it will try to execute that chef recipe. So we are applying the chef on recipe hello.rb. Now look at the log. These logs are very important for troubleshooting down the line. We will that's why it's very important for you to understand what is happening behind the scene, and we need to understand that. So it says so whenever you run recipe, it picks one resource at a time, right? It picks one resource at a time. So we have file resource. So it says first, it says recipe chef apply cookbook. So it's going to apply the chef as a cookbook in on top of hello.rb. It read the file. It says okay, it got file resource as hello.txt, right? Okay, it says first action is create. Now we haven't specified to create the file, but still it's creating. Why? Because chef is intelligent enough. We said in the file that I want content of that file should be welcome to chef. I mean, chef understand that you are saying the content of the file should be welcome to chef. That means first I have to create it, then only I can add the content. So chef is intelligent to understand what you are writing. You have written I want content, that means first file has to be created. So it says first action is I need to create the file, right? And then it says create new file hello.txt. So it created the new file hello.txt, right? Now what it needs to do, it needs to update the content, right? So second line it says update content in file hello.txt, right? Now look at all these logs are internal, like these hello dot and date and time and all those things, these are IDs. It's a internal to chef, how it runs. But here you can say plus welcome to chef, right? Okay, how many of you know when you do a diff between two files, you get plus and minus sign? Tell me who doesn't know what is the meaning of plus and sign, because this we are going to use it. Okay, let me go through it. So when you do a diff between two files, plus denotes what has been added, and minus denotes what has been deleted, right? So if I say I have two files and I've say compare between two files, diff between two files, and I have deleted line number 9, saying that line 9 was something and I deleted it. So it will diff between these two files will say 9 line deletion happen, and it will say minus as a sign, right? If you want to know, we can go further deep into that how the diff works. So this is what it says. Plus welcome to chef, that means it's adding line 1, the line 1, it says line 1, it's adding a line welcome to chef. So plus side denotes it's adding the line welcome to chef, right? So this is the part of how it execute the recipe. Now if I do ls, let me increase the font size. Okay, now are you able to see properly? Okay, now if I do ls, right, now it has created hello.txt, right? ls hyphen l, if I do, just now it created, right? Hello.txt was created 747 recently, right? Now if I see the content of file cat hello.txt, so it says welcome to chef. Okay, it's giving the new line here itself. I'm just adding. So it says welcome to chef, right? So this was your first ever recipe executed, chef recipe executed, right? Please go ahead, do the same. I'll wait for 2 minutes for you guys to go ahead and run it on your system. If you have any question, any doubt, any error, please paste into the chat window or unmute yourself and speak out. Okay, and if you see yesterday's PPT, this section was already in that PPT. So if you have downloaded yesterday's PPT, you will get this section, and you should be able to copy paste the exact syntax and content from the PPT itself, because it was added in yesterday's PPT. Okay, um, I assume everybody was able to run it. If anybody missed it or any problem, please let me know. That's why it's very important for you also to type it. You can learn the chef by training, like these kind of sessions, but it will give you the exact commands, and you will be able to reach the comfortable zone when you execute it. Okay. So I'll go to the next topic. Okay, I have executed once, right? What will happen if I execute it twice, right? Let's see whether it throws error or something else, or what exactly it does. Okay, so there's a concept behind it. That's why if I do chef apply hello.rb, okay, if I enter it, 1 minute, let me clean it, right? If I do chef hyphen apply hello.rb, if I enter it, what it throws, Okay, now this time there is no green, no white, nothing, no, not much log, right? It just gave me two lines and that's it. Earlier we saw this green, this white, and all those things, but this time there's nothing. Why? Because always remember, chef has a basic structure, the basic structure to execute any recipe, right? What it does, chef runs on test, uh, 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 test and repair mode, right? It must be in PPT. Okay, yeah, exactly. So second time I run. So chef workflow is read, test, and repair, right? What it does, first it reads the configuration, whatever configuration you are going to supply via your Ruby file, right? Your recipe. First, it reads the Ruby file, right? It's identify the Ruby file, and then it tests it. Test against your local thing, right? So test means you said I want the content of hello.txt should be welcome to chef. It tested whether the file exists or not and the content of file exists or not. So these are the testing. So whatever you want to run, right, first it tests it. It doesn't run straight away, test it. First it will test whether file exists or not. Okay, so if it doesn't exist, it will create it. If it exists, it will skip that portion. Then the second part is you want content to be welcome to chef. So second step, it reads the file. Okay, first time it was empty, so it added the welcome to chef content in the file. But in the second step, when it was already there, it says, "Hey, welcome to chef content is already there. I mean, everything is proper the way you specify in hello.rb. I don't need to do anything," and hit exit, right? So this is the beauty of chef. If the configuration is already applied, it's not going to reapply it. It's just going to test it and then it's just going to skip. That's why I mentioned it works in first read, test, and repair mode, right? When you run first time, the file doesn't exist, the content was not there, so it repaired it. Repaired it means it created the file and then it added the content, right? So that's why here you see only one log file action create. It says up to date and then it exit because creation was up to date, the content was up to date, and it exists exit. Now let's take a second scenario. What if I have hello.txt and I edited it? Edited it means, let's say I removed the two. I just say welcome chef and I saved it. Now this is the second scenario, right? This time if I run hello.rb, think in that way. Hello.txt is already there, but the content was not right. Content was like, corrupted in the sense of chef, because chef says the content is corrupted because it is not like what it should be as per your recipe. Okay, let's run chef apply.rb again. Let's see what it throws. Okay, this time it gave me a lot of things, right? But see, first it says file recipe hello.txt action create. It doesn't say creating the file. Remember, in first run, very first run, when it says action create, it said create new file hello.txt. It was creating new file here, but here it didn't say create new file, green, right? In the green color, because the file was already created. Okay, now next what? So check the content. It identified content is not right. Content has been changed. I mean, it's some local thing happened or some corruption happened or something. So it's updating the file hello.txt with the content which we are specifying in hello.rb. Look at the last line. It says minus welcome chef. Minus means removing, right? Minus means removing. So it says removing welcome to chef and then plus adding welcome to chef, right? So it repaired it. So it found it's not right. So it repaired the file. It deleted the content which was wrong, and it added the content welcome to chef in the file. Now, if I look hello.txt, I will see the content welcome to chef, right? So the welcome chef was deleted, and welcome to chef was added. This is a very basic flow of any recipe and resource inside it, right? So, any question on it?
Yeah, Vishal, this if we are writing the RP files and I mean Ruby script,
Uh-huh.
it's a mandatory write in Ruby or some other scripting as well.
No, no. As I said, uh, the extension has to be Ruby. That's what Chef will understand. But if you look at the content of hello.rb, it's not a Ruby content. It's pure Chef DSL. So you don't need to write the file in the Ruby format. Only the extension is Ruby because Chef is basically work on the platform of Ruby, but Chef has its own DSL. So if you look at the hello.rb, it has Chef DSL, right? Specifying the resource, specifying the content, and do, and it's not Ruby. It's a Chef DSL. So what I'm saying is, Chef has its own. So DSL means domain specific language. So whatever domain has its own customized language, that is called as DSL, domain specific language, right? It has its own language to write. So Chef has its own way to write. This is the way we are going to write chef recipes. This is the way. And since chef is based on the Ruby, that's why we are keeping extension as Ruby. It's pretty much static. Everywhere you see the extension of any recipe would be dot Ruby only. It will not be anything else. It will be Ruby only because chef underneath it's a Ruby, but chef converts this DSL, it chef reads it, converts it to Ruby, and then execute in a Ruby format, right? So again, we don't need to understand Ruby. We don't need to learn Ruby to understand Chef. Chef has its own DSL, just like we mentioned over here. But the only part where we are going to use Ruby is just to assign the variable and retrieve the variable. And how to do that, I will cover that in the session when we reach the stage where we are defining the variables and attributes. But that's it. Other than that, there's nothing else.
Okay, and one more question. Till now you are working in Chef server only. I think you are not working in Chef agent, right?
No, no, no. Here, there is no chef server, no agent, nothing. Right? I am
Okay,
working on my workstation.
okay,
So in chef server, no, you cannot log in. You don't. It's not you cannot log in, but you don't log in and do anything on chef server. No, that's why I said you are only going to work either on workstation or you are going to run some commands on Node. Chef server, once it is set up, you are not going to touch it. You are not going to run any command on chef server. Chef server is itself its own entity, right? Its own thing. So right now I'm working on workstation itself.
okay,
It's my workstation, right? So in workstation, I have written one chef Ruby chef recipe hello.rb, and I'm trying to execute locally.
okay,
Okay, so okay, let me tell you one more thing, right? Chef comes in a many flavors. Chef has three kind of structure. One is the server client architecture, which is the common enterprise solution we work on. Second is uh, chef solo, right? So chef solo is like you don't need server on that. It's, in the chef solo, your node is your workstation, right? So there's no server for chef solo, and your node is your workstation. And same place you write chef recipe, you execute there and finish. You don't upload to the chef server. There's no chef server in chef solo. right? So there are a couple of things the way Chef works. We'll come to the client server architecture later point of time. We need before that we need to understand a lot of other things. We'll go through it slowly, slowly. Don't worry. And one more thing, since Nakesh has added the Ruby and all, one more thing I would like to add, the data format, right? So here's the thing, Chef has its own DSL, but the data retrieval happens and data publishing happens through the JSON formatting. Um, are you all aware of JSON formatting?
No, Vishal, no idea about that.
Okay, so let me tell you. I assume you all know about the XML formatting, right? So XML has its own tags and then data, right? So XML has its kind of, okay. Let me see if I have some XML so that I can relate it to something. Okay, so I have some XML. I will just open some XML file. This is. Okay, so you know about XML formatting first of all.
Yes, yes, Vishal.
Yeah, okay. So I'll relate it. That's great. Okay, so how XML formatting works? Let's say we have a tag servlet. Sorry, here we have a tag servlet, and the servlet tags and here. That means it's like So in XML format, the data works in a tree structure, right? I mean, it's not simple like a is variable a equal to 5 and done, right? So it works in a tree format. So servlet tag may have multiple tags inside it. So servlet tag has servlet hyphen name, right? And the value of servlet hyphen name is host manager, right? Under servlet. Under servlet again there is one more tag, servlet class, and the value of that is org apache catalina blah blah blah. And then again one more tree. Servlet is a tag. Under that, there is one more tag init param. Under that, again, there is one more tag param name, and then param name has value debug, right? So if I want to retrieve param name, what is the value of param name? How I'm going to retrieve it? Something like I need servlet. I need to go to servlet init param and then get the value of param name, and it will give me the debug, right? So it's a tree structure in the assigning the variable. So something like now tag is servlet. Under that there is one more kind of tag or variable init param. Under that there is one more param or hyphen name, and the whose value is debug. Under init param there is one more param value equal to 2, and that's value. So here it start param name, and then when you say front slash and param name, that means it's ending that particular tag, and between that it's a value. So this is how tree structure work, right? Similar way, JSON is also a tree structure, but there so what is the difference between JSON and XML? It's like in XML you have lot of text, right? Think in that way. If I want to just specify debug as a value, I have to specify servlet start here and here, then init param start here and here, and then here, and then param name start here and here. I mean, just to get a value of debug, I need like the debug is like just a 5 character. I may have to write 50 extra character to just define the debug, right? So in JSON it's nothing but the same like XML structure, but you have to type less. So it has its own syntax, you have to type less. So how it's going to work, I will show you. Okay, just remember how XML works. The same way JSON is going to work. I will retrieve one JSON file, a small JSON piece of code, and then I will explain you. Okay, I will take the example of this one. Sorry. Okay, so here, okay, not copied completely. Uh, so, okay, I'll start with the beginning. It's a lot of data. Okay, I'll take one small example. So many things. Okay, I'll just end it here. Okay, so here it works. Okay, so here it works. JSON formatting. It starts with curly braces, right? In curly braces, you define some tag. Let's say I have a CPU tag, right? Just like we have there some the different tag. Under CPU tag, the CPU tag starts with curly braces. So wherever curly braces ends, the CPU tag ends. There, how we have to specify servlet tag, and wherever servlet tag ends, we have to specify front slash and servlet tags end. Here we don't need to specify. So CPU is a tag, and then it starts with curly braces, ends with curly braces. So this is where the CPU ends. Under that, we have real as a value variable. The value of the real is 4, value of the total is 8, mhz it to 2500, and similar way. And then again it comes down flag. So CPU has one more flag, right? Flag is like, okay, I missed this part. Okay, flag is again kind of you say it's a array, right? So here we have like 70, 60, and one line. Now flags is array. So array you define with the big bracket. So big bracket you define the array and specify one by one by one. The value of first is FPU, second is VME, DE, PA, all blah blah, all those things, right? So this is the way we define the array in this JSON. And now I will define one more thing at tag under tag. Let's say we have tag chef, and again, right? And then here again specify column A 1, 2. Okay, so this is what it is, right? So for example, CPU is our tag. Under that there is one more tag chef. Under chef, the chef tag starts here and ends here. Under chef there is one more tag a whose value is 1, and there is one more tag b whose value is 2, right? So you see how simple JSON is. We have defined lot of variables here. In just 15-20 lines we have defined lot of variables, and yet we have to write a very small piece of code, because the curly braces, big brackets, and all those things will automatically take care of start and ending of that particular tag, right? So this is what the JSON formatting is. We are going to use it. I mean, when you retrieve the data, right, data from the chef, um, how it's going to give data, it's going to give data in JSON formatting. So we have to just read the JSON formatting. That's why we need to know a little bit about JSON formatting and which we will be using it. Okay, so this is a JSON formatting, and so this test and repair, and this is the second time. Okay, yeah. Any more question? Okay, so have everybody executed this hello.rb chef apply? If still anybody has any problem, any concern, issue or error, sorry, issue or error, please let me know right now. So next exercise will be little bigger than this. So I want you to get comfortable with all those things. And one more thing I just missed. I want to show. I wanted to show in next thing, but I'll show it here. Since okay, so uh, nobody asked me exactly about this DSL, right? This is a domain specific language, right? So how exactly you know state, right? Remember yesterday we are talking about state of anything, state of server, state of file, state of anything, the snapshot. So this between line between do and we again one more thing called as it's a change of the state, right? The change of this between do and block, whatever you specify, that is going to change the state of your server, state of your file, state of your software, state of your configuration, right? So in this resource definition, first line is the name of the resource, and the like file is file, it's a file resource, type of the resource, and then name of the resource, it's a hello.txt. Start your do and section, and in between you specify what state you want to be in. So my state of my hello.txt should be welcome to chef. So a chef will always try to make sure state of my hello.txt is always welcome to chef. That's how it works on read, test and repair. If the state is not what I want, it will change the state and it will revert back to what I want. So between do and loop, this defines your state, what state you want. If I change the content something else, instead of welcome to chef I say welcome to class, welcome to world, hello world. So this is what, like, now I am changing the state to some other value. So this is what it's called a state. I am just relating yesterday what we talked about state. I'm just relating it. So between do and block, it defines state of your resource. Okay. So I hope, okay. And one more thing, it doesn't matter your workstation is Red Hat, your workstation is your Windows, your workstation is your Ubuntu. The chef command, the Ruby syntax, everything is going to be same. Let's assume this is Ubuntu machine, right? Sorry, this is Mac machine. Okay, this is my Mac machine, right? This Mac machine, I'm running the same command, and you may be having Windows, Red Hat, or Ubuntu. You are running the same command, right? So remember I talked about, I was comparing Chef with the Java, because this works just exactly the Java, because same command you can run anywhere and you can execute anywhere. That's why yesterday I was talking about, doesn't matter whether it's you run on the Red Hat Linux and all those things, only the change will be packaged, but the way you are going to write a Ruby file or recipe, the way you are specifically going to run it, it will always be the same. It's not going to change. It will never change. So I hope you got it right. Um, so I'm running on the Mac machine. Doesn't matter. I'm going to run the same command. You are on Windows or Red Hat or Ubuntu. You will be running same sort of command, right? Okay, so coming back to our exercise, today we will do one small exercise. Okay, okay. So today we will take one exercise and we'll try to accomplish that exercise, right? Now today's task, we need a web server configured to serve our home page. This is our task, right? We need to install the web server, configure it, and we should be able to uh, uh, see the web page on our browser, right? Now success criteria is the browser should be able to open the home page, and we should be able to see our configured web page, whatever we configured, like could be small text, could be big text, or whatever. We should be able to see our home page. So that is our goal, task, and this is our success criteria. And let's do the exercise. Okay, so okay, here I was describing the state, desired state, right? So desired state, I have already talked about what should be our desired state. I mean, not what should be our desired state. I mean, what is the state means. So here, let's talk about what should be our desired state. So desired state on our server is first Apache to be installed, because web server, we need to install some web server. So we are going to use Apache. So what is second? Second thing is web server should be configured and should be started, right? Without even starting the web server or configure, we cannot have it. The second thing, our desired state is the page. The page, the home page should be displayed on the browser with our customization, right? These are our states, three states. Uh, Inside our resource block, we are going to specify these states. Okay, now here we are going to use Chef Solo today, just to show and just to run. So we right now we are assuming, as I said, right now we are assuming our workstation is our node. So we are assuming our workstation node are the same computer, same machine which we are working on, and we are going to use Chef Solo. If you want to see what Chef Solo you are running on, you can say chef hyphen solo hyphen version, right? It will say I'm running Chef's version is 12.4.1. For in your case it may be different, because I downloaded chef SDK, chef DK couple of weeks back, so you may have a new version, but that is okay. Okay, let's go to where chef. So Chef Solo has its own default path directory where it reads the configuration, right? So that path is where chef. Let's go to where chef. Let me clean it. I'll go to where and then chef. Okay, so I already have something. I'll just move it to something else. Okay, and inside that I'm going to create cookbook Apache, right? Now remember, I talked about cookbook is a collection of recipes, but just for one entity, right? So this time we are going to, so what we need, our task is to Apache web server should be up and running. So what we need to install, our desired services, we need to install the Apache and should be up and running with our with our customized configuration. So let's create one cookbook. Okay, since we are going to install the Apache, I'm going to name it as Apache, just to better understanding, right? So I'm going to create a directory. Sorry, I'm going to create directory cookbooks and Apache. Dir cookbooks Apache. Okay, okay. needs sudo permission. So I'll do the sudo su. Okay. Now I'll go to where chef, and I'm going to create a directory Apache, right? Now I'll cd to directory Apache, right? Now it's empty, and my pwd is var chef cookbooks Apache, right? Now we are going to create one file default.rb. So here's the thing: you can specify any other files, but as a default behavior, so chef has its own some default behavior, right? Default naming of the file, default directories, default this, default that. We can override all these default things. Later point of time I will show you how to override it, but right now we will stick to whatever the default chef behavior is. We will just stick to those files. So chef will understand one default.rb. This is the first one. Let's say default default.rb, right? So remember, just like we have created hello.rb, right? Same way we are going to create default.rb under cookbook Apache, right? So what is cookbook? Cookbook is collection of recipe and its other related information, right? So right now first we need to create the recipe. Other information we will create it later, but first let's create a recipe, right? Apache, for cookbook Apache we need to create a recipe. The recipe default name is default.rb. That is what chef is going to understand. I'm just opening the default.rb, and then I'm going to copy package Apache install. I'm just copy paste it. Don't worry, I'll copy paste it to chat window, and then you are going to run. But right now, just concentrate on what I am doing. I'll give you time to go through it. Okay, so first, what we need, the first our desired state was Apache should be installed, right? The very first thing is Apache to be installed. So our package, I have mentioned my resource, his resource package is my resource. And what is the package name? Apache 2. So Apache 2 is my package resource, right? And then under between do and add, what I am specifying, action install, right? So what I want first is it should be installed, right? That's our first desired state, and that is why I mentioned package Apache 2 in double quotes, do action install, and same kind of thing, right? Now coming to the next, right? Here I am talking about more. Um, okay, now let's think in that way. Resources are declarative. This means we say what we want to happen rather than how we want to happen. Here, if you look at the file, what I'm specifying? I'm specifying package Apache 2 has to be installed. Have I specified how I need to install? Right? I don't know where I'm going to run. Let's say this could be my Mac machine, right? I can have same thing you may be writing on your Ubuntu machine. Somebody may be writing on Red Hat machine, right? But the installation of Apache 2 on your Mac, on your Ubuntu, on your Red Hat will be different, right? In Ubuntu, it will be apt-get. In Red Hat, it would be Yum repository, right? Am I specifying how to install? Okay, this is the way. This is why Chef is platform independent, right? Just like Java, it understand, it's very intelligent. It understand where are you running, and it will install automatically the way it has to be installed on that particular server. That means if I am running, Chef knows where are you running, right? Chef is very intelligent. Chef knows where are you running. You just need to specify what you want to do. You don't need to specify how you want to do. How, the question of how, leave it to Chef. Chef will do how. you have to just specify what. So here I am specifying what I need to do. I need to install it. How I need to install? I'm just taking chef, you take care of it. I don't need to specify how I need to install. You just install it wherever I am running it, right? That is why I mentioned here resources are declarative. That means we say what we want to happen rather than how we want to happen. What we want to happen is just Apache to install. How? I don't care. It's up to chef how he wants to install as per the my system, right? So for example, I'm just saying, let's say example of Git. If I want to install Git right now, just Apache 2, right? Let's take example of Apache 2, just a copy paste. So if I want to install in Ubuntu, it will install yum install. In sorry, in Red Hat or CentOS, it will install as yum install, Ubuntu apt-get install, blah blah blah, other things. So I can just specify package Apache install. I'm not specifying how to install, right? Let's coming back to the second portion. Second is a service. Okay. Second is service. Okay. First state was Apache to be installed. What is second? It has to be up and running, right? After installation, it's not that we can just leave the Apache like that. It has to be up and running. So second resource is my service. You know about the service? I know you know what is a package means, but anybody has any doubt on service? What is the service means on the system? Okay, let me tell you. Service is kind of utility, right? When you are on Ubuntu machine, if you just say sudo service and hyphen hyphen status hyphen all, so service is a kind of a daemon running on your machine, on your system, which will take care of execution of different packages or different kind of binaries. So so as soon as you install Apache 2, it will add to the service registry and it will make Apache 2 as a service available. So for example, I have it's very service is very useful in the case if I have 10 applications, Tomcat, Apache, and my web applications, and the stop and start and restart of those services have different commands. Here, Apache and Tomcat are pretty much very static, but let's say I have different services or different applications. To start and stop those applications are completely different way, right? And I'm a new person. How do I need to know like which application needs to restart? What is the command to restart? So service comes into the picture. You register your application into service, right? Service daemon, and you specify uh, how your application needs to be started, and service will take care of internally. So service will have only command start, stop, reboot, status, and all those things, but internally it will convert those commands into customize start, stop, restart as per your application. So the front user doesn't need to worry about how exactly application is being restarted or stopped. It just you will just call the service and it will say, hey service, I want to restart Apache, and just go ahead and restart Apache. Service knows how to restart it because we have already registered over there, and it will restart. So that is what the service call is. Service is pretty much very static, like it's not something different than system. It's internal part of the system. So as soon as you install the Apache, it will automatically register itself to the service. Now we are telling service to so the service name is Apache 2, and what we are saying action is enable and start. So we are saying, hey service, Apache 2 is my service and I want to enable Apache and start the Apache, right? So these are my state. What should be the state of my Apache? My state of Apache 2 package should be enabled and start. This is what we are defining in service resource. Okay. Now third is a template resource, right? I'll just copy paste this template resource. Okay. Now what is a template resource? Template resource just template, right? You do anything, templatization, you do lot of things, you just create a template and all those things. Template is just like a file. Template is nothing but a file resource, but it behaves differently, right? Template is a file resource, but it behaves differently. That means it has a different kind of actions also. File has only create action, delete action, or content action, but template doesn't have all those action. It has extra action. It has a action as is a source, right? So let's take first, what is my template? Template is nothing but a file resource, and that resource name is var www.index.html, right? So this is my resource. Sorry, yeah, this is my template resource. What I'm specifying, do. Do is the start of the block, and end is the end of block, right? Now, second, source. What do you mean by source? Source means this is a one added thing into our template. It can source the file. That means it can go and take a content of some other file and put it in the template file, right? So what I'm saying is source the content of index.html.erb and put it in my template index.html. The simple thing is that source means I may have content some so in file resource I was specifying the content in the comma, like content section itself. But here if my content is too huge, right? Let's say I have 10 lines. I cannot write 10 lines in this configuration. What I can do, I can write these 10 lines in some other file and tell, hey, source that content into my the file, right? So template is a file. Template is nothing but a file resource, but we call it template because it has a few more feature. So template is where www.index.html is my resource, my source, and then it says source the. Okay, sorry, I got confused. Okay, so template is my resource, and resource name is where www.index.html, and I'm telling pull the content from a source file which is index.html.erb, right? And change the mode of the file to 0644, right? And I'm going to save it, right? Now if you look at the second portion, I have a package. Okay. So I have, if you look at the complete structure of all the resources, right? We have three resources. One resource is package, one resource is service, and one resource is template. If you look at the flow of all those resources, here's the thing. Our package is Apache 2, right? Whose our sorry, package is our resource whose name is HTTPD. In Red Hat or in CentOS, it's not Apache 2. It called as HTTPD, right? In Ubuntu, we called as Apache 2, right? So it says our package name is HTTPD or Apache 2, and action on this package is install. That was our first resource, right? Let's come to the second resource. What was the second resource? Second resource was a service. Service, and service name is HTTPD or Apache 2. Okay, and they have two action associated with it. One is enable and second is start. So service will go ahead and enable the Apache 2 or HTTPD and start the service. So Nagesh, okay, I'll come to that point later for edit. Okay, third was our template resource, and the template resource is where www.html index.html, right? And it has two parameters. So first is a source parameter, the source file name index.html drb, and the mode has to be 0644. So these are the things. Second point, order. Order is very important. So chef is a chef reads everything sequentially and perform everything sequentially, right? So it's not that intelligent that if you specify the template or service resource before but you install the service later point of time, no, it cannot read that. That means if I put my package resource from here, let's say, to here, right? And if I delete it, sorry, if I do like that, chef will straight away going to throw the error because it reads sequentially. So even you have to perform all the actions sequentially the way it has to be performed. If package has to be installed before it you start it, then it has to be installed. You cannot start it before even installing. Chef will just simply throw the error. So it is a sequential. That's why it says order matters. It starts from the first and it goes sequentially to the last, right? Now we mention we have in the resource template resource, we says here source the index.html.erb. But where is our index.html.erb? We don't have right now. So we have to create it, right? So create a directory templates. So under Apache, mkdir I'm creating a directory templates, right? In that templates, it's empty, right? I'm going to create a file vi index.html.erb, index.html.erb, right? So, and I'm going to put the content hello world, right? Hello world, I'm going to paste. Now, what I have done, let's see. So I am telling default.rb that source the template index.html.erb. That is why. So again I'm telling, right, everything is pretty much static, right? Pretty much everything in chef is a default. So templates is a directory which is default. All the templates related to source you have to specify in that. That's why we have created directory templates, and under that we have created file index.html.erb, and we added the content over there. Now what was the content? So think in a way, right? It's a erb file. So erb is an extended ruby file, but are we specifying any ruby content here? No, we are just specifying a plain HTML tag. The tag is h1 heading 1 tag, and the content of the tag is hello world. That's all. Though it's a ERB file, it's a Ruby file, but we are not specifying any Ruby content here. So this is what it is. You everywhere you will add the uh, extension as a .ruby or .erb, but you're not going to write the Ruby syntax over there. You will just write whatever you need. The .rb and erb file is just for the chef to understand and convert it internally in the Ruby format and run it, right? Okay. Now here's the thing. Okay. Okay. Now coming to one more point, run list, right? Now, what is a run list? I'll take you the client server architecture example, right? You have tons of recipes. You have Apache recipe, you have MySQL recipe, maybe you have Tomcat recipe, you have monitoring Nakio server recipe, you have Jenkins recipe, and whatnot. You can have n number of recipes. But are you going to run all the recipes in each server? No, never, right? You have only 10 Apache servers, so you are going to run Apache recipe only on 10 servers. If you have 5 database server, maybe MySQL recipe you need to run only on 5 server. You don't need each and every server to, each and every recipe to be run on each and every server. No, it's not. So that is why there's a term as a run list. A run list defines the list of runnable items on the server. It's a in a plain word. So it holds a list of things, in the list of recipes which needs to be run on the given server. So let's say I have MySQL server, database server, and I want to run only MySQL recipe. So for that particular five those particular five servers, my run list for those five servers will include only recipe MySQL. If I have two monitoring server, for only those two monitoring server, my run list for these two monitoring server will contain only recipe 9use. If I have 10 web servers, for those 10 web servers, my run list will contain only recipe Apache, nothing else. So by default, okay, one more thing. What is the default run list? Okay, default run list is empty. Default run list says I'm not going to run anything. So chef doesn't run each and everything on the default node. It will not. Their default behavior is do nothing, right? But after that, you can add the run list. You can specify the recipe name on the run list for the given server and keep adding what you want to run over there. So it's like, it's not everything is embedded that run everything. It's like the selective, what you want to run, specify, that's all. I'm not going to run everything. I'm just going to run what you specify. If you don't specify anything, I'm not going to run anything on the server. So this comes from the run list. So right now we are using Chef Solo, right? So Chef Solo, I mean, see, chef is chef. Chef fundamentals are chef fundamentals. Though we don't have a node over here, node and workstation is the same, but still we have to specify the run list for the current machine. Without run list, chef is not going to execute this Apache recipe. So we have to add the run list, right? So how we are going to add the run list? This is what the so run list. So what is a run list exactly? It's a list of recipes you want to pass to the chef. So this is kind of data, right? You are passing a data, list of data. So this data is in JSON format. So this is the JSON format we want to specify. So I'll just create one file over here, right? Outside Apache, I'll just create mvi uh, run.json. Okay, and I'm going to add this content over here. So I'm specifying a run list, and the run list contains a recipe Apache. Okay, so this is what it is. It's just a plain simple format. Now what we have, if you look at it, we have Apache cookbook. Under Apache cookbook, we have default.rb, our recipe. Under Apache templates, we have our index.html.erb, and over here we have run.json, right? Now I can run chef solo -j node.json, right? But before that, I'm not going to run it. I want you guys to run it. So whatever we have done so far, I will keep on pasting each and everything. You go ahead, uh, uh, you know, uh, use your Ubuntu machine, a virtual server, have it over there and run it. So I'm going to enter each and every detail to your chat session, right? So here's the thing. You go to varchef cd varchef, create this directory, right? And then under Apache, create default.rb, and the content of that default.rb is this. You have to do indentation, and after that, you create directory mkdir templates, then create a file, and the content of that file is this one. Then come back, create run.json, and add this parameter. You guys go ahead, run it. Sorry, please set up it up. So once you set up all those things, let me know. Are you guys done? Guys, any answer? Please. Dasi, Nagesh, Prithvi, Sneha. Okay. Okay, so one thing, there was just one change. So where you have written var www.index.html, instead of that it should be var www.html slash index.html. So sorry. Uh, so this we have you have to add one. HTML directory inside that. So Nagesh, I guess you are on the Red Hat server, right? So Red Hat server, the package is not Apache 2. The package name is HTTPD. So everywhere we have written, wherever you have written Apache 2, you mention the HTTPD, and for you the htIndex.html directory would be where www index.html. You don't need to add HTML, but for Ubuntu users need to add HTML. And for Windows you can't do it because Windows has like a completely different ISS web server. So we are not going to cover that right now because it will be again too, but I should be able to share the document on Windows how to do the same thing with ISS. That will be a later point of time, I'll share it. So right now I'm expecting you are on Ubuntu or Red Hat via VM or virtual machine or whatever. Guys, all done? Okay, so I now started recording. We cannot keep the default.rb outside. Everything in Chef is pretty much static directory structure. So we need to have templates. That's what where we mentioned put the template. And with the recipes, we need to have a recipe directory. And directory we should have the recipe. So default.rb should be inside the recipe, right? This is the way. Now I'm going to run it, right? Chef solo j run.json. Okay, now let's see what it throws. Okay, let's have a look at the log. Okay, first it says it tried to find one some default.rb, solo.rb, some configuration. It did not find. Okay, it's a warning. Now it says first compiling three cookbooks. Sorry, compiling cookbooks, right? So we have cookbook Apache. Okay, under that it is going to read the recipe default.rb. Now it says recipe default.rb. How many resource we have? Three resource. One is the service, template, and package. So it says converting three resources. So when it says compiling cookbooks, it will read all the recipes. Then after that, it's converting these three resources into runnable action, right? So it will read the resources one by one throughout the recipe, right? Now first it says recipe, right? It's running the recipe Apache as a default. So first is package install. Remember, first we said package Apache has to be installed. So it says apt package action install. It says install version 2417.124.8 package. So I switch to my Ubuntu machine. So Ubuntu machine, it has to be installed. So it's already installing, right? It says first action install and then installing Ubuntu package Apache 2, right, from Ubuntu. What was the second? Service resource. In service resource, remember it was array. First is enable and second is start. So it enabled it, right? So it's, so actually we are saying that enable and start, but by default when you install Apache, it will register itself to the service. It will already enable itself, and it's already started itself, so those action will happen automatically. But in case if it doesn't happen, we are specifying enable and start. So enable and start already happened during the installation Apache, so it says up to date, nothing to change. Now third, what was the third thing? Third thing was we have a template, right? So first it says template action create, right? So first action was to create, so again, right, template, we what we need, we said we know we need this where www index index.html, and we need content to be pulled from one resource file. But before that, same, it's a file resource, so file has to be created. So first it's still creating the file, right? And second, it says update the content. Now it's updating the content from where we have said source the index.html.erb, right? So when you install Apache first time, it will give a default index.html, right? It will have like Apache version, blah blah blah, Tomcat and all those things. So it's removing all those things, you see, hyphen, it's like minus sign, right? It's removing everything, it's removing everything. It has a lot of content. When you first time install, it will automatically create the index.html. It has a lot of data, it's removing everything, it's removing everything. Okay, go, it's removing everything, and then it stopped removing, and what it's added, h1 hello.world bang front slash h1. So it source the index.html.erb, right? And this it source, so it got the content from index.html.erb, and it copied that content hello.world into our index dot where that index.html. If you want to see, have a look at it. Cat where www html index.html, we have hello world, right? Now let's see uh, uh, the IP address, right? So this is the IP address of my web server, my machine. If I go to the browser and it says, hey, I want to see, okay, it says hello world, right? So what was our task? If you go back, our task was we need a web server configured to serve our home page. Yes, we installed Apache, we configured it, and the success criteria is we should be able to see the home page in our browser. Yes, we are able to see this in our home page. Hello world, right? So at this point of time, I'm ending the this session. It's already like almost 1 hour 45 minutes. We'll end over here, and we'll start, we will again go through it tomorrow, and we'll start with the next session, which are like, variables, attributes and other things. But till now, I gave you enough time to, even run through it, go through it, and all those things. Please have let me know. In fact, have you configured everything, and did you try to run it? Is there any error you faced? Any question? Any doubt? Any concern? Dasi, Prithvi, Sneha. Guys, please speak up. I want to hear yes or no. I mean, you got it, you everything is working, yes, or everything is not working, some error, so no. I want to hear something. I mean, it's very difficult for me to get, what where are you? I mean, are you able to follow me? I'm too fast, too slow, or you have any concern, problem? I should be able to solve you. Yes, Neha,
Hi, Vishal.
yeah.
Uh, Dasi here.
Oh,
Vishal,
that's
I
it.
need to practice, but I understood, but lot of confusion is there.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what is the
Need to
confusion? Yeah, please
practice.
go ahead.
Today a little bit, I'll do the programming and the tags. You told Jason, it's simply like XML tags,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I need to work on. So till now I've not yet done that
Okay,
one.
so that's why I know I want you guys to go ahead and do it. I mean, in fact, okay, that XML thing is and JSON thing is different, but copy pasted everything. Did you even, did you guys uh, copied it and run it just like I did? Did you see your web page?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so you were able to bring up the home page, right, with Apache. That's fine.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Sneha, what about you? Yeah, so Sneha, I will, if you need really on Windows, I will send you a different document. Apache, so just like I said, right? For Red Hat, the package name is not Apache 2, the package name is HTTPD. Same, similar way in Windows, package name is ISS. It's completely different. That's why yesterday itself, there was like, kind of homework or the assignment I have given that install virtual server, have Ubuntu. That's why that was the assignment for today. So that's what I wanted not to have. Okay, so why don't you use this virtual server itself, virtual box? You can, so whatever configuration you have done, you can move this configuration to your virtual box where you have okay. So Sneha, that's what, right? I came early today, 15 minutes before, just to understand if you have any problem while installing virtual box. I mean, you should have told me so we could sit in that 15 minutes and we can finish it off, right?